Amanita Design shows its pedigree with their new stunning creation, a new puzzle game that takes us through a beautiful underground adventure. My name is Paulo, and this is our video review for Creaks. There are some developers whose names evoke a defined style, sometimes even a whole genre. We see the name and immediately know what we're going to find. Amanita Design, for example, stands out based on its incredibly beautiful fantasy worlds and imagination, as well as its puzzle-based playability, which are often abstract in nature. This is why Creaks feels familiar in concept yet fascinating in aesthetics, because it's the new game by Amanita Design and follows the standards of the developer. Creaks is a game of exploration, platforms, and puzzles. Our young MC is trying to work in his bedroom when a series of tremors focuses his attention on a distant wall where a secret entrance to a fantastical underground world is revealed, and perhaps where we might find the origin of the strange quakes. But an accident means that our anti-hero is left stranded on the sprawling floor below. We must find a way to return to the surface and, of course, find the solution to the mystery that led him there in the first place. From the start, we can appreciate the fascinating graphics of the creation. Backgrounds and characters are drawn with an incredible level of detail in a hand-drawn style, and it's painful to imagine the time it must have taken the artist responsible for bringing this universe to digital life. Every corner of this underground world overflows with extremely interesting decorations and details. Even the creatures we find on the way wear memorable designs and are flawlessly animated. Leaving the aesthetics aside, the playability is what seizes control of the rest of the adventure. Creaks is easy to understand. We move to our left and right, and by getting near to an edge on the path, we can jump to the other side or go down a floor. A command lets us push buttons, pull levers, and move furniture around, all with the objective of solving the conundrums that make up the whole adventure. Yes, Creaks is a puzzle game where each scenario challenges us to find a way to continue our journey through the underground labyrinth, and it may not be as easy as it seems. A series of creatures will put themselves between us and the next leg of our journey. Strange cubic dogs, floating jellyfish, jumping goats, and even a few humanoid beings that imitate our movements. Each one of these creatures have their own specific behaviors that we have to learn to use in our favor. And the crucial aspect of these critters is that they transform under the light. In fact, light is one of the main mechanics in solving puzzles. No creature will dare cross the beam of light, and those that leave the shadows will show their true form, which is that of stationary furniture that we can reposition at will, at least while they're still in the light. The difficulty of the puzzles slowly increases as the game introduces new elements, but they're never ridiculously impossible. I must admit, however, that I spent more time than necessary on a few of the rooms that required simpler answers than I expected. Contributing to this problem is the sheer beautiful complexity of the graphics that can be a slight obstacle to seeing correctly the vital elements of each new puzzle. Sometimes, a crucial switch can be overlooked at first glance, behind the visual saturation of the surrounding room. And while this is a minor inconvenience, some puzzles seem much harder than they really are due to the visual grandiosity of the scene of which they are a part of. On our journey, we'll also find strange animated paintings showing scenes with humans and an outlandish race of human birds that inhabits these unknowable depths. Perhaps they try to offer greater context about hidden civilization that at one time shared the world with us. There are other paintings of a more interactive nature, offering enjoyable minigames that are a pleasant interlude from the main challenge. They're mostly quite simple, but there are 2 or 3 of considerably greater difficulty. It isn't necessary to beat these minigames to finish the main game, but the lull provided is much appreciated. Finally, I would like to talk about the rest of the protagonists and the story they tell. While the game allows choosing a language, there isn't a single dialogue in the whole adventure. Everything is told by charming animated scenes and some unintelligible chatter, but this is more than enough to appreciate the nature of the events that happen. Everything is told by charming animated scenes and some unintelligible chatter, but this is more than enough to appreciate the nature of the events that happen and, far more importantly, to become enamored with all the characters we meet, who are able to showcase their individual personalities without the need for a single spoken word. I always admire any game capable of telling a story without dialogue, and I'm very pleased to add Creaks to my list. Naturally, Creaks isn't a particularly long game, although it does offer a respectable 5 hours of puzzles. The length can vary greatly depending on our predilection towards solving puzzles and overcoming all the painting minigames. However, it's the perfect length for this type of title, offering a simple story with hints of adventure. Of course, this is the hallmark of Amanita Design's games, and therefore meets all expectations. What else could we want from the creators of Machinarium and Samorost amongst so many other collector's classics? Creaks is the new addition in Amanita Design's catalog, and it covers the developer's standards, a most wonderful visual design, and a puzzle challenge that will please those into the genre. We appreciated its storytelling in the shape of animated scenes that narrate the events with a single line of dialogue. With an average length of 5 hours, Creaks earns itself 9 points, and it leaves us daydreaming of underground worlds and civilizations of bird people. If you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Follow us on social media and visit www.malditosnerds.com to stay up to date with the latest video game news. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time!